What is going on, my beautiful people? I hope you guys are having an amazing one today. In this video, we are going to talk about knowing that you already add value through Christ. Now, what I want this to really be about is about being able to know that anywhere that you go, anything that you do, you are adding value already just because you are in Christ. Because sometimes we feel like you have to say something, you have to be perfectly on, you got to be 100% your best version of yourself to add value to people and to give to people. But what I really want us to change, in a powerful perspective that's different than that, is to know that you're already adding value just by the fact that you are in Christ. That is all that you need to be adding value. And the way I want us to think about this, instead of thinking about like, okay, you got to be perfectly on, because sometimes you're just going to be tired, you're not going to be fully there, and you're not going to want to go places because you're like, oh, am I going to be different? Am I not going to be myself? I'm not going to be able to have that energy, be able to be there for people at certain times. But here's the thing. When you know that you are in Christ, all of a sudden the value comes not from what you are a certain day or anything like that. It comes from who you are in Christ. The fact that you are in Christ and the fact that you are growing in Christ. So a perfect way to think about this is if you think about Iron Man. So Iron Man in Iron Man 1, you know, at first he is this man who is very self-centered, very prideful, very selfish, only focused on himself. He doesn't care about the wars that he's creating, the freaking weapons that he's selling to the enemies. He's denying all that. And then he has that scene where he goes into the cave, all of that stuff happens, he ends up making the arc reactor. And that's what makes the Iron Man suits, that's what changes his freaking trajectory. So the arc reactor, it's a light that shines on the inside of him. And yes, it is, but it's also just a symbol for who he is. So in Iron Man 2, there's a scene where Tony's dad basically tells him that my greatest creation is you. Basically saying his greatest creation isn't anything else that he has created, anything like that, but also Tony is that greatest creation. Everything that Tony is doing, just from him and who he is and the light he has inside, that is his greatest creation, and all the goodness that is coming from Tony is because of who he is. And that's the same thing that God is telling us. If we really think about it, God is telling us that his greatest creation is us and that we are his masterpieces. So when we come to Christ, all of a sudden we have Jesus inside of us. There's a verse that says that it is Jesus in us after we are crucified with Jesus, but Jesus is now living in us. We have that light. And in Matthew, it tells us to go shine that light before men. So what that basically is saying is that we have this light inside of us, but it's about who we are in Christ. You already have all the things that you're going to do inside of you. You are that person that has that. Just like Tony, even before he made the arc reactor or anything like that, he still had that inside of him. Well, I think it's really about that change that happens once he has that arc reactor made, and that sets him on a different trajectory. Now, every time he looks at that arc reactor, it's basically telling him the same person that made that is who he is. So anywhere he goes, he knows that he has value, and he is adding value anywhere he goes. He might not be the most perfect, he still has anxiety, he still worries, he still has doubts, but he knows that he is inherently valuable. He has lots of value on the inside, and anywhere he walks, he knows he has that. Even if he's not feeling it that day, tired, a little bit anxious, you know, just going there and being there with people and just being available, just being in the presence of people, that is adding value to them. You know what I'm saying? And if he doesn't feel like doing that day, he still has that value. And it's just about being able to shine that light. And the closer for us that we get to Jesus, the more that we can shine that light out there for other people. The more that we can put ourselves into situations where just by being in the presence of people, the light of Jesus, which is in us, is going to shine. Just like Tony has this inherent value that he can go out there and just be able to talk with people, give them value, give them insight, make them laugh, have fun, have a good time, knowing that anything that he says, anything that's coming out of his mouth, anything, his presence is valuable to people. That is what you have with Christ inside of you. The more that we are growing in that love, joy, peace, we're adding more and more value to people, but just in general, your presence, your peace, your love that you are bringing to situations, that is valuable. So what I want you to realize is that anywhere that you go, once you realize that you are in Christ, I want you to imagine that arc reactor on your chest is basically saying anytime, anywhere you go, you are adding value just by being there. Even if you don't say nothing, even if you aren't feeling your best, but also, you know, you give the opportunity for somebody to come and ask you a question because they know that you are of Christ and in Christ. Even if they don't know that, it's just like you can have that peace. You can talk about things in a place of not judging and being able to be there for that person, spreading joy, spreading hope on things that people might see as negative. They might always talk negative. You can spread that hope and that love and the peace and the joy of Christ. And the more that you're growing in that, that is the powerful place that you come from, because you know that you're growing in that love, joy, peace, and you're able to spread it more and more. Not saying that you're perfectly like Jesus. Jesus is something that he is perfect, but just like Tony, he has this arc reactor, and that signifies the shift in him from being that prideful, arrogant, all that stuff, into who he is now becoming, a different purpose to help save the world, to go out there and be a protector of the world. He still has to grow into that slowly over time. He still has that anxiety, he still has some pride, some arrogance and stuff, but he's growing out of that. And that arc reactor is always a reminder that he has already made that shift, that it's already in him and it's happening, that he has that value. For you, once you've come to Christ, you have the light of Christ inside of you. And every time you look at that arc reactor on your chest, you think about that in a visual symbol. It's basically saying you already have made that shift, just like Tony in the cave. You've made that shift, and now you are living out being of Christ, which means you're valuable and you're growing in Christ, just like Tony is growing into who he is. He just has to remember that. Like his dad told him, his greatest creation is him. God is telling you his greatest creation is you. So the more that you look at that arc reactor, you know you already have that value inside. Anywhere you go, you're not losing that. You always have that. You're bringing it to other people. So I think it's a beautiful thing, because just like Jesus goes to places, and yes, we are not Jesus, but we're trying to be as best we can like Jesus. He can go to places, even if he doesn't say anything, his presence is valuable, because people will go to him just because of who he is, the more that he's growing in that. But of course, Jesus can also go to people, can also talk with people, can also preach these beautiful sermons. And that's what we're trying to get to, in terms of you can go, you can say nothing, you could do nothing, but you can also go out there and just start talking with people, just start being with people, just start spreading light, spreading joy. So it's a beautiful thing that we can get to, and I think it really helps us understand that you are of value already, and you are giving value anywhere you go. And I think it really just frees you up from being like, okay, I have to do a certain thing, I have to be a certain way today. But you just know that you're already of value right now where you are in Christ, and that the more that you're growing in Christ, the more that you're spreading those fruits naturally. So anytime you open your mouth, it's just automatically giving value. And now you can go out there and you can just know, anytime, for myself, when I'm making these videos, it's adding value to you guys. Anytime you guys go out there and open your mouth, start talking to people, it's adding value. Just your presence is adding value. And that's just really going to shift us into this plane where we can go out there and give our presence to other people without thinking like, oh, if I'm not on a perfect, feeling amazing, having perfect sleep, maybe someday you're not just like, you're just not feeling it that day, or you're kind of like feeling a little bit negative. That doesn't mean that you can't go out there, because you're already shifted into being of Christ. You're already in Christ. That light is shining in you, even if you don't feel it sometimes. You know, sometimes it might be shining maybe brighter or whatever, but it's always going to be there shining. And the more that you just place yourself out there, the more that you're blessing other people with that, and the more that you're growing in that, learning to abide in Christ and grow that light inside of you. So we need your light today. We need your light every single day. Hope you guys are able to go out there and spread that light as powerfully as you are able to. But just know, no matter what, it is always shining. You are in Christ already, and you know that you are, that's all you got to do. You're already in Christ. You're growing in Christ. You are his. That's it. You are his. So go out there today. Continue to say that to yourself. You are his. Remember that arc reactor on your chest. And it is going to change the way that you show up for people in your life, for yourself. And it's gonna just change how you show up in communication, in anything in life. Love you guys very much, man. Hope you guys are having an amazing one. Talk to you on the next video. Peace.